Come on. These relationships that you think are so awesome. And you know why? And I'll fill you in a little. I'll fill you in, especially the teenagers in the audience. And the young people in the audience who kind of just recently kind of shot an email and somebody emailed them back and a little Facebook thing happened. And, you know, a little wink and a little hey there in the playground, even though it's a separate school. But in recess you saw each other like and like a little bit of that happened. Let me just fill you in a little. You know, all of this is a product of low self-esteem. You think you're ugly. So if a guy thinks you're cute, you're like, really? I'm beautiful? You know, you have low self-esteem. You think nobody's going to like you, nobody's going to want to marry you, and all of that stuff. And on the other hand, the guy, like, you know, we don't have good friendships and good relationships, and we're looking for something. And most of the guys, I don't have to tell you what's going on in your head. You and I have ijma' on this issue. The things that go on in our head. There's no reason for me to explain all of that to you. You know? But you know, just because you have raging hormones and you're like daydreaming about girls and things like that, it doesn't mean that you're in love. It just means that you haven't controlled your temptations yet. And you're ruining somebody's life. You're ruining an entire family. Do you realize what you're doing? And you call it love? You tell me if she was like 50 pounds fatter, you still be in love? Because she's the same person, same ruh inside her jasad, right? If she was a burn victim or something, if her hand burnt off, or her ear was missing, you still be in love? Or you find somebody else to love all of a sudden? And if you can't answer that question honestly, then come on, you're not in love, you're just hormonal. That's all you are, you know? This is what we've done to relationships that are supposed to be beautiful. Marriage is supposed to be a beautiful relationship. It's supposed to be a lifelong relationship. But because you're watching all of these models on TV and stupid, like, you know, women that are just throwing themselves at men and all this stuff, and you've developed this delusional concept of what it means to have love in your life. Delusional concept. Our deen came to free the world from this nonsense. To free it. Because we have a more mature understanding of what it means to have love in your life. You know, to have, I'm not saying you shouldn't marry someone you like, you should. You should be attracted to your future spouse. All of those things are fine. But there's a decency that you have to exhibit before then. You know? And if you're okay with talking to a girl like that, you should be okay with somebody talking to your sister. You're okay with that too? Not if you have any ounce of decency left inside you. If you do, then, you know, this is how we have to end these things. And now if you've been in that kind of relationship, or you're in one of those relationships right now, nobody knows. Only Allah knows and you know. Don't raise your hand, please. Right? But I'm saying, you're like, after today's lecture, I have decided I no longer want to be your friend. You know, don't even write that, because even then you're looking for a response. You're kidding yourself. And then you're checking, did she write back? Yes, we should no longer be friends. And then you'll write back, you're right, we really shouldn't be friends anymore. And then she'll write back, yeah, never again. And then you're still doing it. Just stop, just cut it off. Just cut it off. It's not good for you. And guys, I've done a whole series on shame, so I won't repeat the whole thing because it took hours and hours and hours. But I will tell you this. It's okay to be attracted to a girl. Allah put that in you. You're not evil for finding a girl beautiful. It's not haram for you to feel that way. You have to control it though. You have to control yourself. Our deen teaches us self-control. And if you cannot exhibit self-control in one aspect of your life, you'll lose self-control in other aspects of your life. Same thing for you. Same thing for you. Control yourself. Control your giggle. Control your overly friendly demeanor in certain situations. Don't be oblivious to, don't say we're just friends, or he's like a brother to me. If he ain't your brother, he ain't your brother. That's it. That's it. Either he's your brother, you share a mom, or he's not. And that's the end of it.
I'll share with you guys one incident. You know, a few years back in Chicago, there was a lady whose son was very sick. very young man. Her son was sick. And his situation was such that he was on life support and they were going to take him off the life support. And she said to me, I want you to be there when my son passes away. So I said to the lady, I'll come. I remember I came to the hospital. She was standing next to the son's bed. He was maybe in his mid-teens. And her husband was sitting next to me. He was on a wheelchair. And she told the doctor, go ahead, take him off the life support. And they moved the machinery from him. And he was lying there, and Allahu Akbar, seeing a mother holding her child's hand as her child was dying was something too hard to see with your eyes. It was just too hard. But I was sitting there watching because she asked me for support. But it was so difficult for me to sit there that I started looking down and tears started flowing from my eyes. And this lady was holding her son's hand and just biting her lip and just saying to her son, she kept saying in a soft tone, everything will be okay, everything will be okay. And she knows that his pulse is cutting down. She can feel it. She's holding his hand. And then she says to the doctor, when the final moments come, let me know. The doctor said to her, these are the final moments now. So Allahu Akbar, this lady, she leaned forward and she kissed her child and she stopped right there. And she just stayed in that moment, that position there. She was just kissing her child until the child passed away. After the child passed away, I stood up to greet her. I said, Auntie, I apologize for not being able to give you the support at this tough moment because I was breaking down in tears myself. She said to me, son, I didn't invite you to give me support. For that I have Allah. I've learned that through the years. The only one you can rely on is Allah. However, the reason why I called you here is because I wanted you to be witness that I loved my son. See, a few weeks ago, my son and I had an argument. And he fell ill while we were in the state of that argument. I didn't get a chance to tell him how much I loved him. And then she said to me, Wallahi al-Azim, I swear by Allah, the day he was born, it was these hands that first brought him into the world. And I was the first one to hold him and I was the first one to kiss him. And today when he left the world, I wanted you to be witness that I was the last one to hold him and I was also the last one to kiss him. See, sometimes you forget about your connection, the heat of the moment, you get distracted. But can you ever break the relationship of a mother and a child? I mean, this mother is kissing her child after the child is dead. He's gone. He's left the dunya. He's no longer even existent. Before he was born, the mother was carrying the child in her womb. Before he was even in existence, he was in the womb. He was something, maybe nothing. And the mother is still holding that stomach and she's talking to the baby. She's smiling at the baby. She's already planning her dreams with the baby. Likewise, as much as your mother loves you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you 99 folds more than that. No matter how much your mother loves you, and there are mothers sitting here and they can't even express their love for their kids. They can't put it in words. It's impossible. It's one of those relationships, it's a feeling. It's, the Layla and Majnun couldn't express their love for each other. Romeo and Juliet couldn't express their love for each other. Ask any mother, can the love of Romeo and Juliet ever match your love for your child? And the mother will say, Romeo and Juliet are amateurs. We're the pros. And if you think you're the pros, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond you. 99 folds more than that.
One day the Prophet ﷺ stood up in the depths of the night. It is authentically reported in Al-Bukhari that he raised his hands up to the heavens and he said, Oh Allah, my ummah, my ummah. Ya Allah, my ummah, my ummah. Ya Allah, my ummah, my ummah. He couldn't say more than that. He couldn't finish his sentences because he was so emotional. Until the night passed and the last third of the night came, until Fajr time came. And at that point, Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam came down and said, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Allah has sent me and said, Ya Muhammad, your Lord will not disappoint you regarding your ummah. Your Lord will not disappoint you regarding your ummah. The question is, brothers and sisters in Islam, are we going to disappoint our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Are we going to disappoint our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Allah has promised our Prophet, He will not disappoint him regarding our ummah. The question is us. Are we going to otherwise not fulfill the promise of Allah and be a disappointment for our Prophet ﷺ? For those people who are looking at the situation of the Muslimin around us and say there is no hope for this ummah, This ummah is destroyed. There is no hope for it. Those who look at the situation of Islam and Muslims and the countries of Islam and Muslims being eaten up by other people. But Allah, I will tell you, every single person that has made an effect in this dunya was not a really great man before they became great. They were not particularly talented, not particularly educated, not particularly eloquent. They didn't need the permission of everybody. They didn't have the help of everyone as well. But Allah, they had one thing and one thing only, and that was a deep burning desire to achieve something. Be you of those people who fulfill His vision. Be you of those people who fulfill your love for Allah Azza wa Jal by pursuing the vision of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam on this earth. Everyone will say, I love Allah or I want to love Allah. However, certain things prevent them from proving their love for Allah Azza wa Jal. The first thing that prevents them is this negativity. I can't be that great. I can't prove my love to Allah. I've done too much sins. I'm not someone special. I don't have Islamic knowledge. I only know so little. I'm not from a great family. I'm not a great speaker. How can I truly do so many things? How can I prove my actions? How can I increase my actions in order to prove my love to Allah Azza wa Jal? I'm no one special. But by Allah, you are special. You are special. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, when a slave stands in his salah and he says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Allah answers the slave back and says, my slave has praised me. So every time you speak to Allah, Allah speaks to you back. You are not a person in 6 billion. You are the person in 6 billion at that moment. Because Allah Rabbul Izzati wal Jalal, despite looking after the affairs of creation, has time for you. Oh my brothers and my sisters in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pays attention to you. So my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, do not be of those people who are negative about your love for Allah Azza wa Jal. Be of those people who are positive about it. Every single time you feel negative, every single time you feel you can't prove your love to Allah Azza wa Jal, every single time you think of doing something to show Allah Azza wa Jal, Ya Rabb, you are more important to me than the whole of this dunya, Ya Allah. Every single time you feel like this, remember, by Allah, the Prophet ﷺ was a very positive person. Be very positive about yourself. Be very positive that you can make a change. Be very positive that you will have an effect in changing the ummah. My brothers and my sisters in Islam, how much does Allah Azza wa Jalla love us is shown by the fact that even when we disobey Him, He still feeds us, He still clothes us, He still lets us breathe by Allah. He still provides for us and nourishes us and sustains us. Even whilst we're disobeying Him by Allah, even when we're committing that sin, Allah is still letting us breathe. Allah is still letting us eat our food. Ya salam. How great and how noble and how merciful is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, it is because of this that one of His most beautiful names, Allah Azza wa Jalla, has revealed to us, told us about from the 99 names that we should memorize to go to Jannah. One of the names is Al-Wadud. Do you know what Al-Wadud means? He is the loving God. Al-Wadud, the one who loves, the one who has mercy with His creation, the one who loves to love His creation, the one who loves His creation so much so that the love that He has sent on this earth is only one part of 99 parts that He has prepared for the believers in the Day of Judgment. So my brothers and my sisters in Islam, what have you done to prove to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you love Him? What is it that you have done to prove to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you love Him? What actions can you identify with that you have done to prove to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He asks you on the Day of Judgment, Ya Abdi, oh my slave, how have you proven that you love me so that I may love you back on this day? My slave, what have you done to prove that you love me? My brothers and my sisters in Islam, by Allah, there is not a single person, the one who is speaking and the one being spoken to, except that he will find a level of hypocrisy in his heart in this question by Allah. Indeed, the Prophet ﷺ said in the authentic hadith, Man ahabba liqa Allah, ahabba Allahu liqa'ah, wa man kariha liqa Allah, kariha Allahu liqa'ah. Whoever loves to meet Allah, Allah loves to meet him. And whoever hates to meet Allah, Allah hates to meet him. Ask yourself, are you from those people?
الشروق وفي الغروب نوره يهدي العصا. ربنا رب القلوب وهو علام